they continue want to get you off track, and you say, absolutely, I can help you with that. But let me just ask you.
I can see the whole wide world with these two eyes, and I can be whoever I want to be, 'cause it's my life.
Hi, thanks for joining us for another episode of Ask Spurrell CPA. Today we're talking about client intake checklists and templates. I got Matt Hammond from Synesis Financial.
Howdy.
So Matt, why don't you tell us what the financial picture looks like for most people in Alberta in 2019?
Well, a lot of change. It's going to depend on if we can deliver some promises as a provincial government, and then I think the bigger thing is going to be national. We've got to have changes at the national level and support, which I think is growing.
Yeah.
But Alberta, we can't have one buyer. And we've got to be able to enjoy and develop our energy industry. And that's going to take a national change.
Yeah, right on. So we'll look forward to that. So the quote that we have here today concerning the client intake checklist and templates is a Michael Gerber quote, author of the E-Myth. And it says, if your business depends on you, you don't own a business, you have a job. And it's the worst job in the world because you're working for a lunatic. Lunatic is you. So the statistic is 50% of Canadian business will fail within 5 years, and 42% of those entrepreneurs who fail will state that the primary reason for their failure was they weren't able to acquire enough customers. And that makes it the number one reasons for businesses failing is they can't acquire enough customers. And the story is that business owners, we run into it over and over again, as business owners, they don't have a standardized client intake process. It makes it inefficient, and it prevents the business owner from utilizing their team during the intake. So Matt, what do you think are the questions that these business owners should be asking?
I think first thing is, what's your first checklist? Why should a list of questions to ask a new client be that first one?
It's the number one thing. I mean, it's the reason why you're probably not going to succeed or you will succeed in business is your ability to onboard new clients, and you want that process to be efficient and seamless and pleasant for the client. You don't want to forget that I was supposed to ask this. Did I ask where they heard about us? Did I ask how big the bit project is? Did I ask how many people are involved? Did I ask your mailing address? Did I not get your phone number? Did I not get your email? All of these things that can go wrong in the client intake process when we're busy as entrepreneurs and we're worried about, we're trying to juggle all the balls in the air. Let's make the most important one so standardized. Let's put it on one piece of paper. In our firm, we even have it laminated just in case the computers go down. It's like the only piece of paper that I will tolerate is that, the client intake process. We have to know exactly what we need to ask people on the phone when they call in and they want to do business with us.
How do you handle common objections during the phone questionnaire?
You plan them. So you're going to start to get really common objections. You're going to start to go, can I just get a price? Are these guys going to do a good job or not? If you get those common objections, you want to write them down, and you want to have set responses that you can deploy against them. And sometimes it's not mechanical, robotic. Think of it as your set responses are tools. Tools is, we might have, people call into our firm, we just want a price, and, our first line is rules of professional conduct with the CPA, say that we can't quote a price until we fully understand the client. So we do a free consult to get you an accurate quote, right? And then that might be enough. And then we tell them, we have packages starting from $84 a month, but we got to do a consult to, give you an accurate price. But we have those pre-planned. We're not stumbling for them on the phone. We know what they are. You're going to find that most of the objections that you get, they're going to come over and over again. And if you just plan on those, 3 to 5 objections over the phone, you have planned responses, you're just going to handle them seamlessly. And not only that, your team can handle them seamlessly without you even having to intervene.
And what's the best line to get a prospect back on track with the questionnaire?
So there's the one ninja line that I call it, and the client calls in and you have to get to this questionnaire. And as a professional, whatever you do, you're an accountant or an electrician or you're a dentist, you got to get this questionnaire and you got to book the appointment. Or else nothing happens anyway. So they continue want to get you off track, and you say, absolutely, I can help you with that. But let me just ask you. So let's just get it again. So they ask back something, and they say something crazy about, Matt's calling in and they say, well, what about my QuickBooks file? Can I book this as an asset or this as a liability? And I just say, absolutely, we can help you with that. But let me just ask you, can I get your email? And you just get them right back on track of the same script. And I don't know why it works. I just know that it does work. So if you just remember that one ninja line, absolutely, let me just ask you. It'll just refocus them back to the questionnaire.
Should you also have a template email to ask questions?
Yeah, so sometimes you're going to get a lead or a prospect that comes in. You won't have a phone number. I'd prefer to do it by phone. I think it's quicker, usually the back and forth. Or some people just will never pick up their phone these days. So you should also have a template email that you can reach out and get the answers to these questions as well.
So if your business is appointment driven, can the email also set the appointment at that time?
Yeah. There's no point at all of trying to email out to get the answers to the questions and then create another email chain altogether to set the appointment. Let's just make as few points of contact as possible to make that experience as seamless and as easy for that person as possible.
And to eliminate all that back and forth, how many times do you give out when you send potential times?
I send 10 potential meeting times every time I send a meeting request to a client. So, how many times has someone emailed you back and said, oh, can you meet on Thursday at 5 p.m.? Well, no. And then they email back, can you meet on Friday? Well, no. And then this email chain is just like never ending. And we have to remember that every time we get an email and check our email box, we're for the next 23 minutes, we're no longer as smart as we were before. So, let's give them 10. Give them your next 10 available times. It'll show the client that, you have a viable business and you're kind of busy. So they'll know that, these are the times that they can meet, these are the times that they can't. It'll set that expectations, and B, it'll give them the convenience to pick one that's actually going to work for them without creating this unnecessary email chain. Because how many of these prospects just fall off when they can't get an email and they can't get a time worked out in 2 or 3 emails? And
so once that appointment is set, do you immediately email them right after that?
Yeah, now I'm going to prepare them for what that appointment's going to look like. My business, I'm saying, if possible, can you bring the prior tax returns, prior financial statements, any business plans that you have worked out? But, if you're an electrician, you're going to email them back and say, hey, we're going to meet around this time. This person's going to show up. The appointment's going to take around this time. We're going to want to look at this and this. And you're going to start preparing them for that initial appointment. Which is extremely important. So you want to set the stage for what that initial appointment's going to be like and make it as unintimidating as possible, as comfortable as possible.
And so why is it important to also confirm that appointment the day before?
Because the show-up rate for appointments is just dramatically going to decrease if you do not confirm. So unless as a business owner you like having time blocked out in your schedule for people not to show up on you, you're going to want to confirm. People are going to no-show no matter if you confirm or not, but those no-show rates are going to dramatically decrease if you're able to confirm the appointment. Not only that, there's a lot of evidence to support that the number of touches or contacts in between that first point of contact and actually asking for their business, if we can increase those number of contacts, we're increasing our chance of success rate. So we had that person come in, they called in the first time, they booked their appointment, or we did it through the email questionnaire, and then we immediately sent out another form of correspondence, preparing them for that initial appointment. And now we've confirmed that appointment as well. Now that meeting, now we have 4 points of contact, plus they've probably been subjected to a little bit of our advertising, a few points as well too. Mm-hmm. So the more points of contact that you can put in there, the better, really.
So after the appointment, do you also have a template for that? Do you need one for that?
Yeah, so after, what's the follow-up on that? A lot of times if they're not going to sign on right away, if you're going to deliver them a quote after, they say they need to think about that. Why do we have to come up with that on the fly? Let's just, we can have a really good one ready to go. We can get it out right away. You don't want to be waiting. So I don't know, I have to think about it. And then they don't even get the contract or proposal from you for 3 or 4 more days. Why can't you have that templated that as they're walking out of that appointment, they're already getting that email before they even get home, right? So they have it right there. They can review it. They can go over it. It's just going to increase your chances of success.
So why have a template for all these emails? Why don't you just compose these on the fly and make them personal to each client? You
just will never be able to compose them at the highest level. So, things like our client intake email, we've wordsmithed these, and based on every time we get a response back, and it creates an email chain, what could we put in that initial email that we could have just hammered it down the first time? We've literally spent probably hundreds of hours on these emails, and it would not be possible to wordsmith each and every email like that efficiently, right down to where the exclamation points go and where the periods go. If you think that every one of your employees are going to do that every single time, A, they won't, and B, even if they do, you don't want to pay them to do that every single time. It's going to cost you a lot of money.
$50 emails.
Yeah, exactly. you can template these emails every time, right? And you can get them out to an incredible quality. There's a lot of things in your business that you're going to have to customize. But what are the things that we can execute at a high level that we can template? What are the things that we can put on a checklist that we never forget that are going to save us time? I think those are the key.
Absolutely.
So I think that's what we have here today. Thanks again for joining us. As always, please hit the like and subscribe button so we can continue to deliver you tips on how to beat the odds at business. And we look forward to reading your comments below so we can respond and use your feedback for content and future videos. Thanks very much.